A very good afternoon and welcome to NTV News. I am Siksha Sharma. First, the headlines. Government decides to declare Padam Bahadur Limbu a martyr. Limbu died in agitation against naming of Province 1 as Koshi. Code of Conduct for House of Representatives by-election comes in place from today. EC directs its line officers for effective monitoring. Israeli jets pound Lebanon and sites across Gaza in retaliation. Tensions flare following police raids on a mosque in Jerusalem. And Manang Marshangdi versus Friends Club match today under Martyrs Memorial A Division League. Kumaltar Club facing first place Jaulakel Youths. Welcome back to NTV News. Taking a look into news in detail now. The government has decided to declare martyr to one Padam Bahadur Limbu, who died in course of treatment after sustaining injuries during demonstrations against naming of Province 1 as Koshi. The meeting of Cabinet and Council of Ministers held this morning decided to declare him as martyrs. Government spokesperson and Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Rekha Sharma, spoke to the press of the Cabinet decisions. Demonstrations and confrontations with the police were held last month across districts of Province 1 against naming of the province as Koshi. The Election Code of Conduct meant for the House of Representatives by-election has come into force from today. According to the Election Commission, the Code of Conduct shall remain in force in Chitwan, Bara and Tanaho districts from today till the completion of the election. EC spokesperson Shaligram Sharma Paudel said the Commission is implementing the Code of Conduct by exercising the right granted to it by the Clause 22 of Article of the Election Code of Conduct 2079 Vikram Sambat. The lower house by-elections are taking place in Chitwan constituency number 2, Bara 2 and Tanaho 1 on April the 23rd. The meeting of House of Representatives HOR is scheduled for today. During the meeting, the Prime Minister and President of CPN Mouse Centre, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, is scheduled to present the annual report of National Natural Resources and Finance Commission 2078-79. Likewise, Minister of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation Sudan Kirati will table the Archives Preservation First Amendment Bill 2078 for consideration, along with the message from the National Assembly on it. The session will meet at 1 p.m. It's time for us to take a short break here. More news follows up next. Stay with us. Welcome back to NTV News. Towards other developments, a purposeful program was organized by the Ministry of Health to disseminate the information to general people about the effects of air pollution on lungs. The initiative was taken on the occasion of World Health Day. 2 machine-operated artificial lungs have been installed at the main gate of the ministry. The artificial lungs will be used as a tool to measure how air pollution affecting on human health. Nepal is ranked 16th among the 131 countries with the most air pollution country in the world, published by Air Quality Index AQI in 2022. More than 4,200 people have died owing to ailments related to air pollution in the year of 2019 alone, out of which more than 5,000 deaths reported from Kathmandu, and data also shows that 66% of deaths are reported due to various ailments caused by air pollution. In the program, Health Secretary Dr. Roshan Pokhrel and Additional Secretary Dr. Sangeeta Mishra emphasized on the quality of air and healthy living rights of people. The risk of malaria has increased in various municipalities of Kanchanpur district. For this, spreading repellent substance and pesticides to deter the mosquitoes in the affected areas has been initiated as an act of prevention. The focal person of Health Office Kanchanpur, Siddharaj Bhatta, said pesticides have been sprayed after malaria after the bacteria was found in Bhimdatta municipality and Krishnapur municipality of the district. Following the malaria spread, a team of health workers has started prevention campaign in full swing. More than 2,700 households are estimated to be benefited during the campaign, which will last for a month. 21 malaria patients have been found in Kanchanpur this year alone, according to the health office. The number of infected people entering from India border crossings and rise in temperature have encouraged for rapid transmission of the disease. The government aims to eradicate malaria by the year of 2025. More than 85 individuals have been confirmed to be infected with coronavirus in the last 24 hours of Thursday. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, 1,402 samples were tested in laboratory and the active cases of infection have reached 358 across the country. Of them, 19 people have been infected in Kathmandu Valley alone. As per the ministry's report, 17 people are in institutional isolation after developing symptoms. 4 patients are undergoing ICU treatment and 1 is on a ventilator unit. Meanwhile, keeping in view of the rapid surge in corona infection risk in neighboring country India, the border crossing in Rupandehi district has been tightened. Screening of corona infection at various checkpoints have been operated for the early control and prevention. According to the health office, the checkpoint has been tightened due to the increasing number of confirmed cases of the virus. A research team in China has published analysis of samples taken more than 3 years ago from the market linked to the outbreak of COVID-19. The Hunan seafood and wildlife market has been a focal point in the search for the origin of the coronavirus, but this is the first peer-reviewed study of biological evidence gathered from the black market back in 2020. By linking the virus with animals sold in the market, it could open new lines into inquiry about how the outbreak began. The research reveals swabs that tested positive for the virus also contain genetic material from the wild animals. Some scientists say this is further evidence that the disease was initially transmitted from an infected animal to a human. Let's take a short break here. More news coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching NTV News. Israeli jets hit sites across Gaza in the early hours of Friday in retaliation for a volley of rockets fired from Lebanon as tensions following police raids on the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem this week threatened to spiral out of control. Ground-shaking blasts shook different areas of Gaza as Israel said its jets hit targets including tunnels and weapons manufacturing sites of Hamas, the Islamist group which controls the blockaded southern coastal strip. The strikes came in response to rocket attacks from Lebanon towards northern Israeli areas, which Israeli officials blamed on Hamas. The military said 34 rockets were launched from Lebanon, of which 25 were intercepted by air defense systems in the biggest such attack since 2006, when Israel fought a war with the heavily armed Hezbollah movement. Taking you to other developments, where radical protesters clashed with French security forces on Thursday in a new show of anger against President Emmanuel Macron's pension reforms, with dozens arrested and some starting a fire at one of his favorite restaurants. While the number of protesters had diminished, unions are keen to maintain almost 3 months of pressure ahead of a key court ruling next week on the retirement overhaul. The controversial reforms seek to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 while requiring people to work longer for a full payout. Macron, currently visiting China, is facing the biggest challenge of his second term over the changes, defiantly refusing to budge despite sliding personal popularity ratings. The world economy is facing years of slow growth. The managing director of the IMF has warned with medium-term prospects at their worst in more than 30 years. IMF chief Kristalina Georgieva said global growth would be limited to an average annual rate of around 3% over the next 5 years. It is the weakest projection since 1990 and well below the average 3.8% forecast over the past 2 decades. Speaking in Washington ahead of the World Bank and IMF spring meetings next week, she said the weaker outlook would make it even harder to reduce poverty, heal the economic scars of the COVID crisis, and provide new and better opportunities for all. About 90% of advanced economies will see growth slow this year as tighter monetary policy weighs on demand and slows the economic activity in the US and Euro area, the IMF said. A quick look into the highlights of what's coming up next. Astronauts from Saudi Arabia, including the first Saudi woman, will blast off from Florida on May 8 on a private mission to the International Space Station ISS. Axiom Space and NASA officials said on Thursday. Rayana Barnawi, and a breast cancer researcher, will become the first Saudi woman to voyage into space and will be joined on the mission by fellow Saudi Ali Karni, a fighter pilot. Also on board will be Peggy Whitson, a former NASA astronaut who will be making her fourth flight to the ISS, and John Schaffner, a businessman from Tennessee who will serve as a pilot. Time now for sports update. Two matches on Amateur Memorial A Division League football is slated for today. Manang Marchangdi Club and Friends Club will lock horns in the last match of the 6th edition of the tournament at the Chastel ground that starts at 2 p.m. Fourth place ranked with 11 points, Manang, that is standing in the place with 11 points, will be eyeing for their fourth consecutive victory, while 12th ranked after garnering 4 points, Friends is competing for its second victory. Meanwhile, FC Kumaltar is taking on Jaulakel Youth Club in the Anfa complex. Kumaltar is placed in the 11th rank with garnering 6 points from 6 games, and Jaulakel is in the top position by garnering 13 points from the 6 games. And this brings us to the end of the bulletin. To wrap up, a quick reminder of the top stories. Government decides to declare Padam Bahadur Limbu a martyr. Limbu died in agitation against naming of Province 1 as Koshi. Code of Conduct for House of Representatives by-election comes in place from today. EC directs its line officers for effective monitoring. Israeli jets pound Lebanon and sites across Gaza in retaliation. Tensions flare following police raids on a mosque in Jerusalem. And Manang Marchangdi versus Friends Club match today under Martyrs Memorial A Division League. Kumaltar Club facing first place Jaulakel Youths. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead. Namaste.